You understand? He's going to give them enough information, whereas that it's going to make him look like the choir boy.
Ashton Kutcher was also involved with Abercrombie and Fitch. I think it's Mr. Jeffries who's just been done for traffic.
Ashton Kutcher has reportedly been subpoenaed to testify against Diddy, with sources claiming the legal order has already been issued. This development comes amid speculation that Kutcher may be planning to leave the country, following a path similar to Ellen DeGeneres.
Or Diddy have been friends for decades. And they've done movies together, they've hung out together, and he can't say anything because he's one of those guys. Remember I did that story last week, like, where are all Diddy's friends? Because the silence is deafening. A lot of them don't want people looking into their closet, but Ashton doesn't want the blowback that he got with Danny Masterson.
All right, so pretty tepid in how they reply. Meantime, we're hearing Diddy's ex, Cassie, is cooperating with the feds during this investigation.
100%.
What more is she saying, Paula?
She's not saying anything. So here's the deal. She had sued him for sex trafficking, a bunch of horrible laundry list of stuff. And he settled. It's the one case he settled. It was the first case he settled it. I'm hearing for around $30 million. However, just because you settle a case, you may have an NDA, but if the feds come a knocking, you better
could subpoena Ashton Kutcher to provide information, right? And that's something we have been wondering. A big talking point is, well, why didn't that you have these federal agents that swarm these properties? Sometimes a raid like that is in conjunction with an indictment and arrest. Here it's not the case. I'm of the opinion they're still in the evidence gathering phase. They have to process everything that was recovered from the homes, but I also was suspecting that they're issuing subpoenas to a lot of people right now to get a better understanding of what that looks like. And if that's the case, and Ashton Kutcher was issued a subpoena, then no wonder he wouldn't be saying anything about Diddy right now either, right?
Well, that's right. And, let's underline the significance of those raids. OK, we have the Fourth Amendment that says that unreasonable searches and seizures are prohibited in this country. Federal agents can't simply legally barge into someone's home without having persuaded a judge to issue a warrant, to sign off on a warrant application. So, that's and it's not something that you do early on in an investigation if you don't have enough support.
They could indeed subpoena Ashton Kutcher to provide information, which is something many have been speculating about. A major talking point has been why, despite federal agents raiding these properties, there hasn't been an immediate indictment or arrest. In my view, they are still in the evidence-gathering phase as they need to process everything recovered from the homes. Additionally, I suspect subpoenas are being issued to multiple individuals to piece together a clearer picture. If Ashton Kutcher has received one, it would explain why he hasn't publicly commented on Diddy at this time.
Backlash today for Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis after their video explaining why they wrote letters of support for convicted rapist Danny Masterson. The actors were criticized for calling their former co-star a role model, among other things. And the consensus is that video didn't help.
We are aware of the pain.
Fierce backlash today for Ashton Kutcher and wife Mila Kunis as they apologize for the character letter calling That 70s Show star Danny Masterson an outstanding role model and exceptional older brother figure with a caring nature.
A couple months ago, Danny's family reached out to us and they asked us to write character letters to represent the person that we knew for 25 years. So that the judge could take that into full consideration relative to the sentencing.
The letters were not written to question the legitimacy of the judicial system or the validity of the jury's ruling.
They were intended for the judge to read, and we're sorry.
One of the women Masterson was sentenced last week of raping, known only as Jane Doe No. 1, is slamming their apology. This video was incredibly insulting and hurtful. Chrissy Bixler, another Masterson accuser, blasted Kutcher. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor, referring to me.
The show star Danny Masterson is behind bars and will be for a long, long time. If you did not hear the news, he was sentenced yesterday for a case, 2 rapes actually, and got 30 years to life. And there are already concerns about his mental state. As he has begun serving his time, he was remanded immediately in court, and now police are concerned.
They are watching him.
Ashton Kutcher is no stranger to controversy, having previously faced backlash for his association with convicted child rapist Danny Masterson. Masterson was charged in 2020 with 3 counts of assault, stemming from allegations by 3 women who accused him of crimes committed between 2001 and 2003 on the sets of various shows. He was later convicted and sentenced to 30 years to life in prison. Following the conviction, Kutcher and his wife, Mila Kunis, faced heavy criticism for writing letters to the judge in support of Masterson, requesting a more lenient sentence.
Over 5 years after Danny Masterson's rape allegations surfaced, his former That 70s Show co-star Ashton Kutcher breaks his silence. The actor opens up to Esquire. In short, it's complicated. Kutcher wants Masterson to be found innocent of the charges brought against him, but at the same time doesn't want his friend to get off the hook. Quote, "I wholesale feel for anybody who feels like they were violated in any way." In 2017, Masterson was hit with multiple sexual assault accusations, which he denied. At the time, he and Kutcher were co-stars on another sitcom, The Rant.
What are you talking about? When you sit with your friends and you know when their sentences are about to end.
In the wake of the allegations, Netflix fired Masterson. His character Rooster written off.
So you got 2 choices. Either take that bag and disappear, or you could just disappear.
In 2020, he was charged with sexually assaulting 3 women between 2001 and 2003. As Kutcher sees it, ultimately, I can't know. I'm not the judge, I'm not the jury, I'm not the DA, I'm not the victim, and I'm not the accused. With that in mind, Kutcher concludes, "I don't have a space to comment, I just don't."
Ashton Kutcher has since expressed regret for supporting Danny Masterson, admitting that it was one of the biggest mistakes of his life. He acknowledged the backlash and stepped down from his role at his anti-child exploitation organization, saying he failed to consider the impact his support would have on survivors.
Checked him on some of the stuff that he did.
What about Ashton Kutcher? Because Ashton Kutcher, who I believe could possibly just as bad, Ashton Kutcher as well, listen, he's not guilty of this, but he arranged a date. He was late for that date. And when he got to the girl's house, he looked through the window. She was stabbed 47 times. The man ended up getting charged, but Ashton Kutcher was also involved with Abercrombie and Fitch. I think it's Mr. Jeffries who's just been done for trafficking. Ashton Kutcher was also friends with Brittany Murphy, who also was friends with P. Diddy, who also died the same death as Kim Porter. Now, Ashton Kutcher as well also runs a child protection thing, I think it's called Thorn, where he's trying to save children. But we know now a lot of these people use this thing for child trafficking to actually not expose it, but to gain from their own benefit. He was also married to Demi Moore, and there was a video of Demi Moore kissing a 12-year-old or a 13-year-old boy. I just feel as if there's a lot of darkness around these people. I feel as if they feel as if they're untouchable. I genuinely think he could be next Ashton Kutcher. Am I wrong here, or
was Ashley Ellen, and they were actually going on a date the night that she was found dead. Ashton Kutcher told the court that he screwed up on the night that his girlfriend was horrifically murdered. He told the judge that he was freaking out after learning that Ashley was butchered the same evening they were due to go on a date. Ashton even saw his date's blood splattered on the carpet, which he put down to a red wine stain when he was looking through the window trying to check if she was home, because her car was there, the lights were on, yet she wasn't answering the door. Ashley was a fashion student, and she actually met Ashton at a Christmas party, but at that point he was in a relationship. Once he became single, he called her up and asked her to go out, because Danny Masterson's accuser details an alleged call with Ashton Kutcher the night his date was murdered. Chrissy wrote in a statement on Instagram, "Dear Ashton, I know the secrets your role model keeps for you, ones that will end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speaker that night you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor." And that was the day that Ashley lost her life. So what why did Ashton call Danny, and what did he have to tell him?
This guy, Michael, the serial killer, was able to go do it again because the cops weren't able to actually process the case because they knew Ashton Kutcher was indeed lying. So what was he lying about? Well, here's Chrissy Bixler, who's coming in, who was dating Danny Masters at the time. Dear Ashton, know your secrets. Your role model keeps for you ones that would end you. Did you forget I was there? You were on speakerphone the night you called Danny on February 21st, 2001. I heard everything. I heard the plan. In my opinion, you're just as sick as your mentor. Now, what was this plan? Yes, he was in his car for over an hour outside of Ashley's house, speaking with his manager about what to do to protect Ashton's career and reputation. He then called Danny. I heard the entire conversation. Law enforcement was and is aware of what...
This is just the tip of the iceberg when it comes to Ashton Kutcher. Back in 2019, his name surfaced in connection to a murder case involving a woman he had planned to go out with just hours before she was killed. Kutcher was reportedly at her house that night and even noticed what appeared to be bloodstains on the carpet, but chose to ignore them. While he has maintained that he knew nothing about the murder, questions remain, especially since he allegedly contacted his manager for help shortly after her death.
Wow, okay, I've got a lot I can't tell. So, can't tell that one either. I mean, I'm like actually cycling through them. There was one moment, so it's not really a party story, but our relationship was really bizarre. So it started over punked because he was like, yo,
don't punk
you
me.
can't punk me. And I was like, I don't know what to tell you. Everybody's on the table. He's like, not me. I'm off the table. And so that started our conversation. We became fast friends and we used to just hang out, watch football together.
Ashton Kutcher's longtime friendship with Diddy is no secret. The two have been close for nearly 2 decades. Some of the most disturbing allegations against Diddy reportedly took place with Kutcher right by his side. In 2003, Kutcher invited then 18-year-old DeVay Chase to one of Diddy's infamous after-parties, an event that has since been referenced in multiple lawsuits. These legal filings suggest that Kutcher was well aware of what was happening at these gatherings, raising serious questions about his involvement and knowledge of the alleged crimes.
I would say he's definitely a freak.
I heard some wild stories. I heard he had
we all heard that.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
Then, come on, I want to hear what you heard.
I mean, I heard that he had this dude Ashton Kutcher bent over.
Now I'm gonna tell you the truth. Him and Ashton Kutcher was really tight. We used to go to his crib. He had a penthouse on 74th and 8th Avenue on Central Park West.
My day job is as the chairman and the co-founder of Thorn. We build software to fight human trafficking and the sexual exploitation of children. And that's our core mission. My other day job is that of the father of 2, a 2-month-old and a 2-year-old. And as part of that job that I take very seriously, I believe that it is my effort to defend their right to pursue happiness and to ensure a society and government that defends it as well. But the right to pursue happiness for so many is stripped away. It's ripped. It's abused. It's taken by force, fraud, or coercion. It is sold for the momentary happiness of another. I've seen video content of a child that's the same age as mine being raped by an American man that was a sex tourist in Cambodia. And this child was so conditioned by her environment that she thought she was engaging in...
Ashton Kutcher seemingly realized long ago that his association with Diddy would eventually come under scrutiny, so he began crafting a carefully curated public image. However, as more details emerge, his facade is starting to crumble, revealing a much darker reality. Sources close to Diddy have alleged that both he and Kutcher share guilt in these disturbing events. With mounting evidence and legal actions surfacing, the public is beginning to see Kutcher in a new light, one far removed from the persona he has long portrayed.
Rumors then began to swirl that the actor and his wife might be heading towards a breakup. However, a source slammed the split speculation, telling People Wednesday this is absolutely ridiculous and false. Meanwhile, another source appeared to clarify to the outlet about Ashton and the rapper's bond, saying, Ashton has no involvement in any of this. He doesn't belong in this conversation about Diddy. Ashton has only seen Diddy in a handful of social and business events, all of which have been documented by the media. Diddy was arrested last week in New York on charges of sex trafficking, racketeering conspiracy, and transportation to engage in prostitution. He pleaded not guilty but was denied.
Don't get at you from the inside.
He has reached out to a witness, an alleged participant in multiple freak-offs.
Then why Oprah staying quiet? Why Ellen moving to another country?
And he's asking people to intimidate witnesses or pay people off.
Don't be shocked if nobody show up to testify. Don't contact me anymore, pup. I already got that Houston lawyer breathing down my neck over that 13-year-old girl. If you don't want things to get worse for you, then you need to start answering my son's phone call.
The defendant's goal is to blackmail victims and witnesses either into silence or providing testimony helpful to his defense.
New York is having a problem with leaks in this Diddy case, with alleged video of the court hearings already on the internet and leaked phone calls where he's calling witnesses. Things are getting out of control and you won't believe what he says on these calls. Recently, the DA released that Diddy was contacting witnesses from jail and they were saying this is the reason that he shouldn't get bail. He was using other inmates' phone calls to three-way people who would then call the witnesses, and that's who he spoke to over the phone. Also, in a weird turn of events, the DA who brought these charges against Diddy is suddenly resigning from his position during the biggest case of his career, and that is strange. So let's break down this insane phone call that we found online. Legal disclaimer, people, I'm just a guy that reacts to stuff I find on the internet. So as of right now, everything is rumors, gossip, or opinions of others. Everything in this video is just alleged.